podcast. We are talking amazing content. We had to bring the doulas in here. This is amazing, taking it to the next level. In particular, we got Coach Yinka already doing a great job with that part one. Make sure y'all check out that part one. Get that information. And designer, you got something you want to add? Two, it got to be simple. You're right, son. It got to be simple as 1, 2, 3. And if it's not, then they got to know. And we got my wifey over here talking that experience. They are going through their particular, what this focus of the hormone challenge and the Doula program is all about. So we had to get that firsthand experience. And so we appreciate them taking the time out of their busy schedule. And so let's start it off. Coach Yinka, if you could introduce yourself, talk to the people who you are, what you do for a living as it relates to our program, why they should get into that hormone challenge, and really actually, and then really you can also then give our featured guest, because she is also one of the reasons why you do what you do.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again for the opportunity. I am Coach Yinka. I am your favorite womb goddess, and I specialize in fertility. I specialize in womb healing from a holistic, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. I am a full spectrum doula, as well as a Yanni practitioner, Yanni STEAM practitioner as well. I have coached and certified over 400 women under my master program of how to be a medicine woman. I have traveled around the world to learn and get what I apply to my students at this time. My students pushed me into becoming a doula. I was just, out here trying to help the women heal their hormones through my hormone challenge. And once they all started getting pregnant and, decolonizing their minds and how they present themselves in the world, they was like, okay, so you just want us to go back to the hospital and use regular medicine? I was like, I guess I got to look into doula stuff. So that's how I became a doula. Certified. Shout out to my doula instructor, Deshawn, at the Harmonious Birthing Center. Harmonious Birthing is her business, but she is now a midwife. She's out there in Houston as well. So shout out to her and her community for birthing the doula in me. But yeah, this is my current doula client, staff spiritual sister, Diamond Johnson, and I'll let her, get into her mompreneur, things like that when we get there. But yes, this is what I do.
Amazing. And we can appreciate you just sharing those truths. And feel free to, Sister Diamond, tell them about your experience, how we're connected at the Shrine of the Black Madonna here in Houston, Texas, and even just the connection of even your father and I trimming, and how we have to do the work for our sisters, our fatherpreneurs, our dadpreneurs, right? We got to represent for our mompreneurs. Talk to the people about that.
I met the wonderful Okwanies at the historic Shrine of the Black Madonna. My dad has been a part of that community for the past 14 years. And we're hanging out with him for the holidays, and he was just like, you know what, you're going to ride with me for today. And I'm like, okay, cool, no problem. So, we ended up going to our choir rehearsal, and I got to see, the community and the unity that is cultivated at the shrine. And it was funny because when we were actually pulling into the parking lot, my dad was late, and he was like, oh, it's okay. I see Brother Mikey right there. They're getting out the car right now, so we get here at the same time. So we walked in the sanctuary, and I was approached by the beautiful Miss Kyera, and she's told me about the organization Freedom Together Coalition, and with that, it kind of just went from there. It's been a beautiful experience up to this point to really see how women are able to cultivate the energy of collaboration and unity and bringing fertility to all of the ideas, as well as the forward movement that our men are putting in together, and to see how you guys flow and ebb so effortlessly within y'all's union. It's truly beautiful, and I know it can be a little taxing when you're a mompreneur, when you got a baby right here, you got babies on the way. It can be taxing, but having that balance between the masculine and the feminine and having that collaboration, that spirit of unity and lovepreneurship is really beautiful to see. So I'm just happy to be here, and I'm glad that I met you guys.
Amen, amen. You might have to drop that mic, man, but you might need that later. No, I'm talking about. No, that was amazing. That was an amazing introduction. That's definitely the way that we want you to make sure that you are taking it to the next level. I definitely heard Pastor in there, Pastor Diamond. It might think you're a stripper or something, though. No, I'm joking. No, that's amazing. That's especially in the shrine that you definitely got opportunity already there. And I want to pass this mic over to my wife. I want her to give an amazing introduction of just her experience, because this is something that I can never do. I know a lot of people may get flagged. They may say, okay, doula is, you can't never even speak to it if you may not have never had a child. But then I would say that would count all the men out. You feel me? Because men ain't never gonna experience that experience, right? And so that's a lot of issue of the way we think about pregnancy. We got to rechange that. Just because you don't experience something doesn't mean you can't coach. Even just in basketball, a lot of these are coached by white men, general managers, things of that nature. And so we have to kind of understand just perspective, elders, the importance of wisdom. And so, but most important though, the best wisdom is experience. So let me pass that on.
Hey, so what am I answering? Do you want me to introduce myself, or do you want me to talk about?
You can just introduce yourself, babe.
Okay, because I was like, I don't know if you wanted me to talk about doula things.
That's it, if you feel. What's up in your heart, girl?
Okay, well, hello everyone. I'm Kyera Okwani. I am a nonprofit attorney here in Houston, and a lot of why we're here today, though, is from our nonprofit work. So I have experience with our first was Zion. I got a midwife and a doula. So I kind of had two the first time. The first time I had one in person and then one was virtual because my friend was going through her doula process. So was kind of giving her experience as well, and definitely saw the benefits of like having community, because to the point is like sometimes if someone like either hasn't had a baby or they're not knowledgeable about that experience, it was kind of hard, especially being well, I mean, I wasn't super young. I was 28 when I got pregnant, but most of my friends weren't married or had children, so I couldn't really talk to them about the experience. So I ended up leaning on my doula and my midwife a lot when I was just talking to them about the different things that I was going through. And so that was definitely my support system. And so this time around, I have a midwife and a doula again, and I definitely plan on leaning on them. So definitely shout out to the doula community.
Amen. Amen, baby. You might have to drop that mic as well, too, but you might do that later. You know what I'm saying? And so talk to the people about, we can hold this one. Okay. And talk to the people about your experience and the way, actually, okay. Yeah, because he just been, I'm tell you one time. Zion, I'm sorry. I forgot to introduce Zion. Before I move on to the next topic here. Zion, introduce to the people, talk to the people who you are. He said, I'm two. You're not two yet. Good, you can hold this one too.
Say hi.
You're the reason why we're doing doula programs. See, this is exactly what we're here for. This is the childpreneur, one of our Coach Zion. You know, so he be coaching the children through the truth, leading. So this is why we do it. This is why we take things to the next level. And so we are coaching them early. So we appreciate y'all being patient with us as we go through the motion. You know this one, buddy. Yeah, he said, "No, I just want to say two on them." All right, so let's get into our questioning. So, because this is amazing, I got it all written in the head. You know what I'm talking about? And so let's start off with just, and this can kind of be round robin. You know what I'm saying? We can move around it. And so, just answer, what was the hardest experience of your pregnancy journey, and whether as a doula or even as a participant in it.
Do you guys want to start?
Go ahead.
Okay. I would say, well, I really picked two. I didn't have one, but two things interchangeably, which one won't account for this time. But the first time, just not knowing what to expect, since it was the first time, that was something that was like challenging, just going into every day or every trimester, unknowing how my body was going to be affected. But I would say the most challenging thing definitely was just having to deal with like different, I guess, perspectives on how the birthing process should be. You know, your family and your friends and everyone has a different experience when it comes to how you do your pregnancy, what you eat, what you wear, where you go, how you labor, and all of the things. And so it was definitely challenging communicating with others, like the way that I wanted my birth, opposed to how they felt like I should have my birth. So I would say that was probably like a challenge throughout the entire pregnancy that definitely was able to overcome, but I was able to create boundaries so that this time I'm able to be more stern about how I want my birthing experience to be, basically.
Amazing, baby. Amazing, baby. We can pass that over to you too.
So I would definitely have to agree with you. The first time, my first daughter, I had, through Western medicine. So transitioning from that to going into having a doula, and then not just any doula, but a doula who's very strong and very strict within her spiritual growth and practice, was a challenge and has been a challenge from the perspective of, my family and friends having their own ideology of what my birth process should look like versus what, she has been teaching me and what she has shown me, and finding balance between the two. And then also overcoming my PTSD from my first birth, because it was very tumultuous, and having to reprogram my mind and build the confidence, which Yinka has been very profound in helping me get more confident. I went from saying, "Oh no, I'm not ready," to now I'm like, "Girl, come on now," you know.
Amen.
Um,
Amen.
Overcoming the PTSD from the hospital birth that I had with my first daughter, to even feel confident in myself as a mom and as a woman, and in my body to even be able to go through the birthing process, has been difficult, but it has happened, and I'm grateful for my doula for that, because she has been, like I said, very pivotal in helping me to reprogram the womb of my mind as I grow the baby in my womb at the same time. So those will have to be the top two most difficult things that I've experienced through this process, but also gratifying at the same time, because going through this process, I've learned a lot more about myself, and I've become stronger with setting boundaries. So, yeah.
No, our apologies there. I think the cat is snoring. I don't know if y'all can hear that. I don't know if y'all can hear that. I was like, is that a person in my home? I did not allow you to be here. What is going? My apologies there. But I don't know if y'all missed that. No, that's amazing. They're part of the story. I know that's tough, just overcoming the PTSD that happens in the experience. So we just want to say power to you for even just letting this be an opportunity or a moment just to of catharsis, of therapy, because that's exactly what we want this to be, and to be as transparent with the process. Because with you all healing, you also help others heal. So we just appreciate you all for coming on. Coach Yenka, bring it home. Bring it home.
The most difficult part generally is having to be the strict person for a pregnant person. Because mothers is like, everybody around is like, you can't tell a mother what to do. She got her I don't be wanting to hear none of that. Like, you gonna eat you some greens, we gonna go for this walk. Like, so it's really just parenting the mother and making sure that even postpartum, making sure that they have an understanding that I'm not here to be the nanny. I'm not here, like, you're going to do what you need to do for your baby, but I'm here to take care of mom and make sure that you're healing properly, getting back to where you need to be to actually be your full self again. Because a lot of times, especially our women on this side of the waters, we don't have that community doula. Because usually it's like, what is a doula? Your mama, your sister, everybody used to be there for birth. So we don't have that luxury over here like we should. And so I try to be very adamant about that. Like, it's about the health, not just about your cravings. And let's understand your cravings before we just indulge in them. And then the other part would be personally, nobody prepares you for when you lose a life during being a doula. And so experiencing that really took me back. Like, you know, I had to take some time off because I wasn't mentally, emotionally, or spiritually prepared for that. But that's still a real thing as well. Everybody don't make it. So being able to be a doula, you know, we have birth and death doulas, but a doula is a doula, especially when you're doing it, allowing spirit to guide you. You still have to be that portal to doula that transition as well.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. You might have to drop that mic, man. We got two of them over here. You got to drop for both, man. That was amazing. Definitely speaking to that difficult part there, having to coach people through what I see is really their inner child, or having to heal that inner child is definitely key. Is what I'm seeing a recurring theme pop up. So talk to us about some ways that you have mastered helping heal the inner child in your different clients. If you don't mind us asking.
Every client is actually extremely different, and I wouldn't say difficult, but spirit started me off with like not an easy client. Like, she was type 2 diabetic. That was my very first client. She had already had 2 children that was had cesareans for them, and so her first VBAC. And, you know, she was not vegan. She wasn't eating healthy, you know, very toxic lifestyle all the way around. So to be able to have, you all right? Yeah. So to be able to have her mentally go into a place of communicating with your child. Like, I think Western society has made it so that pregnancy is outside of your body. When you realize like your body was designed to do this. I don't believe, you know, my body too small, my pelvis is too. Your body is designed to carry your child because it's your body and your child. So helping them to really go within and nurture themselves in a way of, I'm supported because my body is designed to do this.
No, that's good. That's good. You know, keep cooking. I think you left the stove on. You might. I think I can smell that. You smell that, baby? She cooking. Keep the cook. Keep the cook.
Yeah, so helping them to understand like your body was designed to do this and to not work against your body. So whether it's how you're feeding yourself, keeping active, like, again, the toxic culture of us wanting to just be comforted in the way that we think is comfort, like eating the comfort foods and laying around all the time, being on bed rest. Bed rest is if it's needed. Once you're stabilized, as much as you can, you need to keep it moving as much as you can, because if you can't handle the contractions or the pain when you're not in labor, the more it intensifies, the more you're going to want to lay around and not do nothing. And that's when we have the emergencies that happening because you're not working with your body. So the biggest thing is helping them to understand like you're in control. So I'm just here to set the atmosphere. Honestly, everything else you have to go within and meditative state and work with your baby, communicate with your baby, and y'all work together to push them out.
That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's amazing. Working with your body instead of working against it. That's amazing. And so, Sister Diamond, share some ways that you learned to not work against your body during this excruciating but rewarding process.
For one, it definitely started mentally, because, you know, when you're dealing with Western medicine, they give you all these tests and whatnot, and they tell you, oh, you have this going on, you have that going on, and you're high risk, and you've already had a C-section, so your body's not capable of having a birth naturally, or we have to give you permission for that. So first, starting there, coming out of that mindset into the mindset of, okay, this is my body. I have autonomy over my body. And although you may be a professional, I am in turn the master and the expert on my body because it's mine. So, coming from being like fear mongered into feeling powerful enough to be able to have my baby, and then also transitioning from the mindset of thinking that because I have, because I've had some complications in my pregnancy, coming from the mindset of thinking that, oh, I need to just sit still and be laying down all day to actually moving around and being active, and then finding the balance between being active and resting when necessary, because there's a time to be active and there's a time to rest. So, this whole thing has been a learning experience. Again, like I say, I can't thank Yinka enough because she keeps me active, when it's time to be active, but she also is in tune enough to where if there is something happening, that she advises me on the best thing and the best step to go about it, and by way of having trust with her, I'm able to have trust within the whole process and within myself, because I had to trust myself to choose her. So that though that would be what I would say would be the biggest takeaways from this experience this far, and also meditation. I was able to go into deep meditation and see my baby, and and communicate with her, and we had a good conversation. We had a good conversation, even just transitioning from thinking that I have to have an ultrasound every second, to being able to go into meditation and see my baby at will whenever I want to, you know.
Keep that cook going. Keep that cook going. No, it was a great story. No, we're listening. Keep going.
You gotta ask us another question.
She said that's it. That's all she had to say.
Oh no. I just felt that impact there. Just in just sharing the fact of what you were going through with the ultrasounds, or having to really experience, or going through Western medicine. That's a lot of times a lot of issues of what we have to overcome. It's just that stigma of doing a new way, or walking into a new light. So I definitely appreciate you just sharing that journey there. And so I kind of want to ask that same question to Wifey here, as it relates to just experiencing Western medicine, as well as also with now you just taking more control over your journey. What are some of the rewards? What are some of the difficulties with making that decision?
Yeah, I definitely experienced the benefits of not just, I guess, particularly using the Western medicine side with Zion. So we had a doula and a midwife. So we weren't really going to an OBGYN or doing that process. I will say it was a transition of like, how do you balance using modern technology in a healthy way, but like also recognizing that you don't particularly need that. So I think that was really the balance I was trying to figure out, as far as like, to your point of ultrasounds, like I only had one ultrasound like right when I found out, but I didn't have any the rest of the way until I had him. As well as I only went to the OBGYN when I first found out I was pregnant with him. And so I was with a midwife and a doula the rest of the route. But that definitely was interesting, because it was my first time, in that it was different to like not have any blood charts, or like I'm not knowing any of my stats per se. Like, I had the blood pressure machine and I had like a Doppler, but as far as like being able to know like certain things about what I was going through, because we weren't going the route of doing the blood testing and all of the things, it was different. And yeah, so I mean, I feel like you just have to have a certain level of faith and knowledge in your body. Also, because I was vegan, I kind of trusted a little bit more that I was strong enough to do that. This time around, since we're having twins, we're gonna do a holistic route. I probably will do more ultrasounds this time, just because it's two of them. And so it is a little bit different, that I have to prep my body than to just have one baby, but still want to have like as much non-invasive things as possible.
Amen, baby. Shout out to the Geminis coming through. And tell my y'all picked up on that one. And so we want to take it to the next level too. And so we now want to kind of go back to Coach Inka, as far as it relates to what Wifey just spoke of just kind of taking it to the next level, and really having to make sure that she always is adapting her plan to the person she is in this season, as opposed to maybe just kind of staying in the traumas that may have happened in the past season. So what are some ways that you help some of your clients get through that particular hurdle?
You mean like going from Western to holistic medicines?
Exactly.
Well, I used to be a lot stricter back in the days. I used to just not take clients. If you want a hospital birth, then you got to have a hospital doula, because it's taboo for me to even be in hospitals. So hospitals are absolute, like they're there for emergencies, and that's what I tell people all the time. You don't have to plan with the hospital. Hospitals are there for emergencies, and we become dependent on them. So back in the days, I used to just, always have, your midwife or your provider, of course, so that we can know that we're doing things physically okay. But on the other side of that, I always have, I believe in, the two-headed doctor, who doing whatever, but I believe in utilizing modern medicines with holistic medicine. So most of the time, I'm going to prescribe you something before you even go to the doctor. And if that doesn't work, then you go to the doctor. But most of the time, it's
can I chime in on that?
Mm-hmm.
So actually, when I was 3 months and probably 3 months and 2 weeks, I almost miscarried my baby this time. And so I called Yinka and I'm like, I'm having a miscarriage. And she was like, are you? And she was like, well, this is what we need to do. She was like, first you need to decide what's spiritually going on here. Like, are you having any doubts? Or have you made a clear decision that you want to be a mom again? Like, have you addressed that first? So once I addressed that, she was like, okay, now this is what you need to do. Get you some wild yam root. You're going to take it until you stop bleeding. And then when you stop bleeding, call me back. So I took the wild yam root for about 24 hours. And then the next day, I wasn't bleeding or anything anymore. So I called her back and I said the bleeding stopped. And she was like, I know. And she was like, okay, now take a pregnancy test. And so I took another pregnancy test, confirmed I was pregnant. I went to the doctor just so they could check, confirmed I was still pregnant. And it was crazy to me because, I know that if I would have just went straight to the hospital, they would have just had me lay in the bed and just had me pass my baby. They wouldn't have intervened. They would have just been like, oh, well, this is happening, so you're already in active miscarriage, so there's nothing we can do.
But wait, this is the dramatic, first of all, because I called her just to check in on her, like, okay, how's everything going? She's like, yeah, I'm just waiting. I'm just laying here, I'm waiting. I'm like, what are you waiting for? And she's like, for it to pass. And I was like, are you still bleeding? She's like, no, the bleeding stopped. I was like, so what are you waiting for? She's like, oh, so I'm still pregnant? Oh, okay.
And I know this might be a little weird. We can laugh about it now, but at that time I was very distraught. I was trying to mentally prepare myself because I haven't experienced a miscarriage before. So I was like, okay, I know what comes next. Okay, so let me just mentally prepare. And she's just like,
it was funny because I allowed her to vent, and I didn't want to take that from her the day before. Like I can't, I don't know which way spirit want to go, so I'm not gonna say, oh, you're gonna stop bleeding out. I'm not gonna say that. Then you'd be disappointed. So I just allowed her to, get her feels out, and then she's like, well, why did you let me do all of that yesterday?
If you knew today I was going to be okay, why did you let me put myself through that the day before?
The experience.
And that's another thing. She's very good at that. She allows for you to feel what you're feeling, and she holds space for you for a way to where she's not necessarily coddling you, but she is supporting you.
That's powerful. That's powerful. That's so powerful. That's so powerful, man. Just and just how you just shared that support, that sisterly love, and then that divine encouragement. Because divinity comes with tests. It's very simple, but it's not easy. And that's the nature of what we have to do to take things to the next level. So that was very powerful what you just shared, sister.
Oh, I think they froze.
I think they got us froze on it. Wink one time if you see us. I think they might have got a call come in. Usually that happens when you get a call. Yeah, it was so powerful. The divines froze them. That's what we talking about. You know what I'm saying? So we taking things to the next level. This is an opportunity, a perfect opportunity. A word from our sponsors. We're talking about that Lovepreneurship podcast, where we're taking things to the next level. As we are spoken, this is things that we are really, really fundamental in our program. That formula for generational wealth. Whether we're talking to the mompreneurs, the dadpreneurs, the childpreneurs, that ultimately creates that lovepreneurship, right? It is this family business, that ultimate legacy. We don't just help individual entrepreneurs, we support the entire family structure, right? And so that businesses grow together instead of apart. Because in our mompreneurs network led by my wife, Ikaira, we provide holistic business support for our mothers balancing entrepreneurship and family. So if you're balancing entrepreneurship and family, you got to take this up to the next level.
Sorry, my phone died.
It was getting too good.
Y'all was cooking so much, y'all heated up y'all phone or something. That's how you know it was. But as you were saying.
Yeah, she, like I was saying, like she holds space. You know, she allows for you to go through the process, and she holds space, and she has an impeccable balance about her. You know, to where she's not contributing to the turmoil, but she's also not making you feel like the whole world is over. And that's when we're pregnant and our emotions be on 1,000. That's what we need the most. You know, because it's like you're literally like a feather. So if you blow, you could just be flown away. You know what I'm saying? So I'm grateful for that as well. I think it takes a lot of, it takes, man, I don't know what it takes to be a doula. I don't think I could do it, but
it's the Capricorn in me. We don't fold under pressure.
I don't think I could do it, especially to be able to hold space for someone, you know, because in the essence, it's like I have to feel everything that you're feeling, but I also have to maintain my autonomy of being an expert so I can get you through this. And it's like, how do you maintain that balance? You know, so.
Understand. I think you're being hard on yourself. You do it every day with the line of work that you choose. Consulting. You're ultimately the reason. No cap. You're ultimately the reason why we are in connection with Coach Yinka. So that's a great example of the very skill set we're talking about. This live is a handiwork of what you do. And talk to the people real quick about what you do and how you can get your services out there. Just talk to the people real quick.
Okay, so I help individuals bridge the gap between their purpose and wealth. So, you know, a lot of people live unfulfilled lives where they're just working just to work and they hate what they do. And you have others who are super passionate about what they do, but they can't seem to make ends meet with it. So I bridge that gap and help people be able to hold the vision of their purpose while allowing their gift to make way for them within the marketplace. Give them the confidence to understand that as long as they be their authentic self and they put in the work, that all of their wants and needs will be met. So that's pretty much what I do in a nutshell. Amongst other things, I would say I'm a Jill of all trades, but you know, right now that's my primary focus, helping our community, especially, you know, with all of us being entrepreneurs, you know, being on an entrepreneurship journey is spiritual first, you know. You have to have a strong foundation in your spirituality, you know, to have a strong mental foundation, a strong foundation period to be able to take on entrepreneurship because it's not guaranteed until you guarantee it.
Oh, shit.
Come on, man, drop that mic again. And talk to the people. Tell the people the name of the business if I may have missed that.
It's called Harmonic Ventures.
Listen, say something.
I'm sorry, say it again.
It's called Harmonic Ventures, and it was
Ventures.
inspired by I don't know if everybody's watching is into ancestral veneration, but it was inspired by my ancestors, and it's rooted in the teaching of the Sankofa to go back and get it and bring it to the future.
Oh, shit.
I wanted them in the camera stuff. That's why I want to keep him in. Trying to keep Zion in the flow. That's the main thing. We want to keep him in the go. I know sometimes we get restless. You know, he got to stay in the camera, baby. Then ultimately, he be making noise off camera. And so that's the key. We appreciate you shouting out Harmonic Ventures, taking it to the next level. Zion, tell them it's if they not simple as 1, 3, then they're not hustling right. You did. And so that's one thing that Zion has been coaching the young youth to. So I want to make sure we give Zion a talking moment. Talk to him, Zion. Tell him about the cat.
Thanks too. I know that's right.
That's all you got to say today? What else?
He said, yeah, clap up my parents. Hey, you ain't lying. I like this child right here, man. Clap me up, man.
Yeah.
Clap me up, man. You know what I'm talking about? That's the vibration. We appreciate you, brother, for being patient. It's not easy for children to keep their focus, but if we can coach him early right now, it'll be much easier when he's even just in the next month or in the next week. So it's definitely a part of the reward of the Lovepreneurship journey is doing it as a family. And we show this just to also encourage others to make sure that they do that because, you know, much of the businesses that we support in real life, in real time, are built on family. And so we have as a people have to mindset reset and wealth rewire ourselves to the journey, to the destination we are seeking. Because it's not just about money; it's more so about the person you become in that journey, in that flow, being able to control your time, control where you journey. You got more to say now? You see how they talk more. That's why I said two, Daddy. That's all. One, and you gotta say three. He been getting three. Yeah, I know you say yeah, because you're doing good on three. And I say please, please, say please. Yeah, we got to work on that one. Manners. Why would I learn that?
Right.
we gotta get thank you. Say thank you. Man, say clap me, man. Clap up my parents. That's all y'all really need to do.
Yep.
That's what he said. I need an
one.
applause.
No, it's amazing. It's amazing. And so we want to now kind of talk to wifey about her journey with birth in Zion in particular. You know, because she was going through the doula program herself, and at least it was an experience without not knowing, not having a child. What is it like now going through the program, going through pregnancy, now having a child? Sex.
Well, I would say this time around, I kind of have a better take on the things I need to eat to help me feel better a lot of the times, or just kind of what to expect as far as like how I'm feeling per day. Also, just knowing what exercises that I did or didn't do last time, that would help. As far as I was walking a lot, but I wasn't doing as much like leg workouts and squats and stuff to help that portion. And so I definitely this time around have been making sure that I get squats in a lot more to get that bottom strength together, and just like stretching more, do it more like, since I'm a dancer, just like getting back into some of my dance stretches, because those are really good with the pelvis area and things like that. So just a lot of like knowing what to do that I didn't do the last time for sure. And then also just like being less dependent on others. I think the first time I was thinking that I just needed like a lot of people, or actually needed a lot of opinions or different things like that when it came to the process. But ultimately, when it's time to have the baby, it's just you and the baby making that push for yourself. And so like while having other help is good, you have to be strong enough to know what to do yourself and with your child. So this time around, I definitely have been a little bit more independent, and like just being okay with figuring it out, how to have that inner strength. And yeah, basically I would say that's probably the difference this time.
It's amazing. That's amazing. And Sister Diamond, if you could share your experiences as well.
This time is really doing all the things that you just said for the first time. Because my first pregnancy with my oldest daughter, they told me that I have preeclampsia, high risk, all that, yada yada yada. So I pretty much stayed in bed the whole time. But this time I've been, being active, um, and trying not to work as much because because I'm at that stage where it's really time for me to really just prepare physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to give birth. And I really shouldn't be putting as much energy into work, but I've always been just, work, work is work. So just getting into the habit of doing the stretches daily, prenatal yoga, walking laps. We do like 3 or 4 laps, depending on if I'm winded or not. We'll do 4. And she's been having me do squats lately, which I absolutely hate. I don't like them.
Okay, you better tell
like
her.
them,
She
but
better get right.
I've been doing them, and really pushing the limits, pushing past the confines of my mind, or what I think I'm able to do physically because I'm pregnant, and what I actually can do. Because when I stretch, Yika's always like, you're way more flexible than you think you are, and I'm like, am I? I am, huh? So, start, getting into those stretches and practicing mindfulness when it comes to breathing. I think that's that's going to be the most important thing for me. If I can keep my breath under control and be mindful with my breath, then I can definitely muscle through the process of actually giving birth. So that's what it is for me. The first time, I didn't have autonomy over any of those things. So this time, having that autonomy and having that power to be able to do that and really allow my body to show me what it's capable of, it's pretty cool. Challenging but cool.
That was the best response to her.
Amen, amen, amen. We want to first go to Coach Inka. Coach Inka, if you could real quick also talk to the people about your experiences there as well, just taking that to the next level.
My experience with what?
Well, as it relates to just kind of the struggles that you see a lot of women go through as it relates to just the process, or maybe when they first didn't have a child, kind of what our sister just shared.
Okay.
When they first didn't experience a child, or they could process not having a child, and then they experience the process of actually having a child, or at least what the difference is in the process when they do have a child. What are some of the things that you have to alter in the way that you approach them, things of that nature?
It's just and just as a disclaimer, I don't have children, so I'm still on the side with the men right now, where I haven't physically went through it, but I'm a spiritual doula first. So as far as like my life's mission is to help people spiritually birth businesses, birth ideas, like just birth through the with the feminine energy. That's what I do spiritually. So that's what made it easy for me to come into doulaship. But for my clients that had children and they were having their first VBAC, I had to take into account the trauma that comes. Like I had 2 clients that had preeclampsia or either diabetic and had to end up having their babies in the hospital. And when I went there for the very first time, I was so upset. Like, I cussed out so many doctors, Lord knows, because to know, especially for melanated women, how unprotected we are in those spaces, it just made me so upset. Because they, from the time that you clock in, that you go into, it's all about them trying to get you to have a C-section, because their whole job is to make money while you're in there. So to see that process go from, and of course I'm seeing things through my spiritual eye as well. It's like I'm seeing energies in here. I'm seeing how unnatural it is for you to be up under all of these machines and things like that. Like, it was just traumatizing for me as a bystander. So to imagine like you went through this twice and at 16 and by yourself with no parents, with no your child's father wasn't there to go through that, my empathy was like, yeah, we got to get y'all up out of here. But I went from that extreme. I went from that extreme to Spirit having to, humble me to a point to say, a lot. We can't just completely go back to how things were naturally, because modern medicine was made for a reason. The hospitals have helped a lot of people as well, because there are emergencies that arise. But I had to go through the process of understanding that we work together, but nature and spirituality comes first. Everything else is secondary to that. And it's the reprogramming to say, like, I'm not against modern medicine. I'm not against advanced technology. I'm not against any of those, because they're useful when needed, but we're not ever supposed to be dependent on them. They're just an aid to when things are absolutely necessary for them to come and assist with. And that was the biggest thing, that mental transition, that I had to have that level of empathy. Like, yeah, it's scary to come in here and they're literally just chunking jargon at you, like, your baby could die, or you could, and it's so dramatic and it's so untrue. Like, most of the stuff that they're saying, they're just trying to scare you. And as a mother, as a somebody who's in a space of panic, of course your mindset is going to say, well, I'm going to do what's best for the child, because you're telling me as a professional this is the best. But they're lying. So my job as a doula, I always tell them, even if I'm assisting you in the hospital, my job, because they can't stand doulas, and when you go into the hospital, they do not like us at all. So that when we go in, my job is not to advocate for you. My job is to educate you to advocate for yourself, and then enforce whatever you're advocating to make sure that your wishes are being respected. That's my job when I go in. So with my first client, she was just like, are you gonna tell them this? I said, tell them what I taught you. Speak up for yourself, because again, I'm not your power of attorney. I'm not your partner. I'm not your next of kin. So honestly, they don't care about nothing that I'm saying anyway. So I need you to advocate for yourself because you know better, and I'm here to make sure that your wishes are being addressed.
That's powerful. That's powerful. That's powerful. I mean, kind of sounded like a power of attorney right there, speaking and advocating.
In another lifetime, I was a lawyer.
Nah, that's amazing. That's amazing, and that's the vibration we're seeing and sensing. Because definitely, I kind of wanted to keep that trend, and I wanted to keep that flow in sense of really just thinking about things that you learned, wifey. Because I want to kind of direct this now question to wifey more so, because it's important that we are keeping that build of getting away from the first the dependency. I like what you said. Your body is able to do this, and so what are some things that are some ways that you help your coach your body through the process? Some of the remedies or the things that either help control your hormones or help control your emotional intelligence through those moments.
Yeah, I would say that most of it is around protecting your peace. So surrounding yourself with people that understand what you're going through. And if they don't, then ridding of that negative energy, because having stress levels during pregnancy is a big contribution to a lot of the things that weigh on the baby, whether people are having miscarriages or things of that nature. I think a lot of the community does ignore that part, whether it's from work stress to your part or family stress or whatever the case is. So I think that's a huge part of it. And then also just making sure that you're doing the exercise part. So I think the exercise part is another thing of strength, because to your point, a lot of people just eat and lay around and they don't think about the labor being almost like you're preparing for a marathon or something. So you should be almost training yourself throughout the pregnancy. That's something I learned the first time. I was definitely training, but I definitely know this time to train even harder. Yeah, I mean, I would say that was mainly most of it, just looking at what type of foods can match the minerals that you need, and having that dependency opposed to just like feeling like you're going to have high diabetes or preeclampsia or all the things. A lot of it stems back to the things that we're eating. So I would say mainly just monitoring what you're eating, the exercise, and minding who's around you, minding your work level. I would also say I always advocate for people to make sure that they have a partner or a spouse when they're having children, because I do think the level of overworking for women while being pregnant or after is pretty ridiculous. Now that I have a child, I recognize it before. As because I see so many people do it, I thought it was normal, but now I'm like, no, there's absolutely no reason why women should be trying to be stay-at-home mom and work and be wife or partner, all of the things. I think that's like an overbalance of responsibilities, especially when you're thinking about it coming from a single parent perspective. So also, just as women, I've also advocated for us to just make better decisions when it comes to like who we're having a child with, our financial stability, what type of community we have, and I think that also contributes to what type of birth that you have.
Amen, amen, amen. And sisters, if you could take that same question as well.
Tell me the question one more time.
Oh yeah, so just basically what are some of the ways that you deal with that stress level as far as it relates to your body, whether spiritual practices, things that you do that help you get through that process, things that you learn from your first experience that you're going to carry over into this experience?
Actually, I didn't carry anything from my first experience but this time around, when it comes to stress, I have learned how to be able to speak for myself more eloquently, and not bottle stuff in or think that I'm, a burden because I feel a type of way. And also I am working, and I can't say I've mastered, but I'm working on having a better emotional intelligence and taking accountability for if I allow something to bother me that shouldn't bother me, and also not using the fact that I'm pregnant as a crutch to neglect my feelings or my emotions, and to choose detrimental ways of dealing with them. And of course, meditation and prayer. I pray for serenity a lot so that I can have that balance and to be able to, relinquish control of things I can't control. And that's pretty much about it. But yeah, as far as bringing it from my first pregnancy to now, my first pregnancy, I was so uneducated. So I made it a point this time to be very educated.
Absolutely. For me, I think that the difference between this pregnancy that I'm assisting with and my other ones is I'm more educated as well on how to do my job without feeling everything. Because as an empath, like if they're having morning sickness, I'm having morning sickness. If they're tired, I'm tired. So I had to, my own level of spiritual growth and maturity had to show me how to not take on other people's energy at all, even though I know how to recognize if it's my own, but actually learning how to block it so I don't take it on. Because one of like the last pregnancy that I did assist with that didn't that turned out fatal, I could barely move. Like I could barely move and support her the way that I needed to. Although it was, I still showed up how I held space for her. I still felt everything that she was feeling in that time. And I'm like, I can't do this. I don't think doula is for me because I can't decipher the difference, or I can't block that off. And it's been different this go around because of my own spiritual maturity on how to, connect to in my own body and say, okay, well, I'm not attaching to this as an empath, but I can feel what you're feeling through the outside, or I can see what you're feeling to know how to move around it without actually taking it on.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. And definitely, I love how you just said, being able to protect your peace and still being able to deliver what they need. Talk to us more about that, because I definitely wanted to make sure we end on those steps, those 9 steps of lovepreneurship framework that we take people through. But really, I just love how you were cooking that build. So keep cooking over there.
You said the part on protecting the peace.
Yes, ma'am.
Protecting my own peace and as well as my client is important. Like, I'm the type that'll send everybody out the room, and I don't care who it is, everybody can go, as well as yeah, she was on probation. I took her phone for 24 hours because again, we're going through this together as far as on an emotional attachment and a spiritual attachment as well. So if you're putting yourself in a position for me to have to do more work to get you back regulated, those people don't care. Like, I don't care if it's your family or whatever, because you're so strong, because you're so used to just doing it all, they're looking at it as, oh, well, you answer the phone, so you good. So you need to, like, whether it's just regular gossiping or whatever, they're expecting you to still hold space as if you're not, they're not taking it into account, especially if they're not around you. So, yeah, peace is very vital when it comes to giving birth, because these babies out, these rainbow babies, they different. Like, they come out, they know in the womb what their assignment is, and they're coming out like ready to go to work. So they're like, even with her baby, she was just like, I ain't coming till y'all get something right over there. Like, make sure it's all nice and comfy for me. Make sure everything is loving around me. Like, and they will speak and tell you that. So when you have that relationship with your baby, and they're telling you what's required for me to come through here peacefully, you can literally do that. And I don't think people understand the spiritual connection of what actually having a child is, because once you really realize that, all you have to do is cultivate the space for them. Like, I can tell if a pregnancy is not going to go well by the level of preparedness you are in that home. Are you nesting and preparing that place for them to come? Because they're not coming to chaos. They're not going to come to somewhere they don't feel loved. They're not going to come to somewhere where you already stressed. They're going to be like, okay, let's try next time. And they're going to abort themselves because that's just how you haven't prepared that space for them. So peace is very, very vital when it comes to having a healthy pregnancy.
Amen, amen. That's so powerful. That's so powerful. And so one of these steps that we're gonna deliver is gonna be the key to maintaining your peace through everything, not just pregnancy, because life is a framework. Life is a grant. You've been given life, and you have to take full advantage of it. And how you take advantage of it is by being honest about your reality. And so many of us are not being honest about our reality. We don't want to work for the people we're working for currently, and instead of us taking a full dive into being one, instead of tapping into one,
You gotta pass the mic.
three, right? You say, I ain't see the mic, yeah, you know, then it's not simple enough, right? If the business is not simple as one, three, then you're not hustling right. If the children aren't able to see what you're doing every night, then it's not simple as one, three, because so many children are wondering what their fathers do. And the issue is that fathers have to hustle in silence. And silence is violence, right? And instead of us being or doing life by ourselves, we decided to do life together in a family framework. And we want to give y'all this framework, even if y'all do or do not choose this grant work. But if you really love the process and really want it laid out and want to learn how to articulate yourself, because it's not that you can't do the things we're discussing, it's about you being able to articulate yourself and take yourself to the next level as it relates to your grants and conveyance of money. So let's get into step one. Step one is your mindset reset and wealth rewiring. So you got to shift from that scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset, right? So you got to start journaling more. You got to start looking more at the way that you're doing life. You got to break these financial limits. You got to start daily planning. You got to really set out your goal for the day, lay out what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, and more specifically, think about those revenue generating activities. Those revenue generating activities are going to be what take you to the next level. So learn how to attract more money and funding opportunities, right? With your mindset reset and your wealth rewiring, because it starts at the mind. That's where the money is made. It's a process that you're gonna have that flows through. So step two, what is step two? Great question. I heard y'all out there. Money and communication mastery. Use that heart to heart framework, because you got to eliminate money tension. You got to be able to talk about money on a daily basis. You got to be able to make money more casual than it is, because it's something that we think about every day. And so rather than it being something that is the last topic, it should very much be the topic that we add into our matrix more when we come out for family and friends and events. We have to start to consider that this costs cash and gas to get wherever we're going. And so we just have to be more considerate of others and the time and the investment and the gain, the return on investment. Doesn't have to be what we gain for it, or doesn't always have to be that thought, but that consideration does help in us being able to be there more for one another. And so learn how to talk about money and business and relationship without stress. Learn understand how to align your finances with your vision. The outcome is you'll feel confident managing money and discussing finances. So you'll develop a winning mindset that attracts wealth and funding. So step three is vision alignment and business position. Create a legacy vision board to align your love, business, and wealth. Learn how to merge your personal and business goals. Understand the three C's: commitment and consistency and care. Right? So, step four, multiple income streams and wealth protection. You got to learn how to fund your business with grants and sponsorships. Set up multiple revenue streams to create financial stability. Protect your business with legal and financial strategies. You got to take yourself to the next level. So, again, when you're talking about multiple income streams, it doesn't have to be 8 different jobs. From this one work, you can have 8 different ways, whether it be your digital course, whether it be a digital book, whether it then also is your virtual consultations, whether it's then even your Lovepreneurship grant course, right? Different ways that you can really connect with your base, with your community, is the key things to think about, right? So that leads to step five, which is branding, marketing, and selling without feeling salesy, right? So you got to just make it more casual. That's why we bring our family on here, because it's important that we are really being able to really just show the authentic nature of how we do this. This is how, you see the mics, you see the mic drop, you hear the baby throw the bottle, right? Because that's really how this is in real life. And so it's important that we're more authentic with what we are, who we are in this market, because learning how to market your business authentically is really what people want to see. Use faceless marketing strategies if you don't feel as comfortable with the camera is another way to still push your marketing forward. AI assistants and things of that nature. So build a brand that attracts your sponsors, clients, and grant funders, because you got to focus on that. So the outcome you're going to have is that you'll build a business that attracts opportunities effortlessly, right? Step six, man, it's so step 6 is a weird one, right? Systems and automation for financial freedom, right? Again, this is our AI one, right? That's why it's step 6. We tuned in. Set up automation tools, right? So that your business works without you. So ultimately, if you're not utilizing the advanced or artificial intelligence, and you will have it used against you. So the goal when we say AI is not just artificial, uh, is for us to be advanced intelligence. So use AI in business systems to streamline your operations, create passive income strategies, right? The outcome is you'll free up time while making more money. Step 7, avoiding burnout and protecting your peace. Kayer's self-care blueprint for high-performing entrepreneurs is the key. You got to really take care of the self-care. She just gave y'all a little sample of just the things that she does, but more so, it's key for y'all to be able to tap into your self-care blueprint in order to take your mompreneurship, your dadpreneurship, your childpreneurship to the next level. Create boundaries between business and personal life. So that's something that's important to do because you do have to have a moment where you're able to cut back and chill and be able to be authentically you without feeling the rush of the camera. But also, if that's also you where you cut back and you chill in front of the camera, then maybe you should also do that in front of the camera. That's also the challenge in life is just starting to be exactly who you are all the time, not having to be 10 different people at 10 different times, only having to be one person in those 10 different spaces is the goal, right? Be your whole self everywhere you go is the goal, right? And so step 7, avoiding burnout, right? And protecting your peace. You got to protect your peace. So taking your blueprint is the key. And we said this one, learning how to scale without burning out, right? So the key here is then that's step 8, building generational wealth and financial independence. So this is the key here. We're teaching your kids how financial literacy and entrepreneurship, right? Because this is the key. If one thing I'm seeing a lot of the generation is missing, they didn't do as well with passing on those financial literacy, the things that they learned. They're more concerned with painting a picture as opposed to just being more authentic with the difficulties and things that they went through to save us time. And so it's okay because that's what the internet, the YouTube University, and our spiritual family is all about is giving this information to help accelerate the growth of our entire race, our entire family. So use grants and sponsorships to fund your family business. So plan for long-term financial security. That's the key. You'll create a family-first business model. Step 9, celebrate, scale, and sustain your success. Scale your business without extra stress. Learn monthly without rituals to track your progress. Because if it's not simple as one, it's not simple as one. It's not simple as one. If it's not simple as one, 3, then you're not playing the right game. And that leads us right into step 9, which is celebrate, scale, and sustain your success. I want to celebrate the family here because it's difficult staying still, but we have to do this for the people. Why? Because this is the medium. It's between us and the camera. And we want to get that practice of also reminding ourselves that we had to go to school 5 days out the week. 12 hours of that day was spent almost 10 to 9 hours, 3 to 4, and staying still. So imagine when people used to call you unstill or unstable, the difficulty it really would take to stay in a particular building, and also what that would do to your energy and your ability to now become what you may have to be now, which is an entrepreneurship, which thrives and moves off momentum and being able to make sure that you have the proper energy to take yourself to the next level. So this is key because in order to do that, you're going to scale your business without extra stress. You're going to learn monthly win rituals to track your progress. You got to make sure you take yourself to the next level. You create legacy wealth that honors the Most High, most importantly, right? You got to create a legacy wealth because if you're not honoring the Most High with your business, then you're not hustling, right? The outcome you'll have is thriving, purpose-driven business. And so, are you ready to secure monthly funding for your business? Enroll in your Lovepreneurship Grants course. Take yourself to the next level. We appreciate you all listening in. Before we close out, Coach Yinka and Coach Diamond, if you all could talk to the people real quick. And on wifey as well.
I would like to end this out by saying first, thank you guys for having us here. And I just want to say at this time, it's very important for us to find that balance between the masculine and the feminine energy. So I'm wishing collaboration, unity, elevation, and most importantly, family into everyone's households who's watching, those who have a family and those who wish to manifest one. I ask the Most High, I ask Spirit to cultivate that energy and cultivate that environment as we continue to run this race and continue to forge the path of generational wealth.
My message is to the leaders. We have a calling, we have a responsibility now to step up and make family the standard again. Make it, the love and communication, and put the Black family specifically, or the indigenous family again, on the pedestal that it belongs. So, shouting out to the leaders. Let's get back where we're supposed to be at.
Amen, 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 amen. Y'all both gotta drop the mic on that too. We can end on wifey dropping the mic.
Yeah, I'll just piggyback off of what you all said. Is just to challenge everyone to think about what their ultimate legacy is that they want to leave, and to recognize that you can't leave a legacy by yourself, and so you should be prioritizing family, and that'll just take time to reprogram your mind, cleanse your mind and body of just different societal things that made you feel as though success was a career or money, but ultimately didn't instill what success is without a family, and that we're all striving for success to be able to take care of our families and leave legacy. So definitely just challenge what you believe your legacy is, and look at what your true purpose is, and that'll help you get back into alignment with your true destiny.
Man, let me I caught it though. Y'all saw me catch that. This was amazing. This was a longer one. We appreciate y'all just taking the time out to be amazing in this day and time. Again, make sure that you check in with our Lovepreneurship Grants course, because this is key for us. We are giving the people what they need on a wide scale. So many people don't know how to take themselves to the next level. They don't have that community as it relates to pregnancy. And one thing I've been seeing, talking to a lot of divine masculines, they do not know who or what the process of, or how painful, how excruciating the process of pregnancy is. And so I just want to make these conversations us just to be much more of a pillar here, just to hear through the difficulty. I even want Zion to hear through too, because one day he's gonna have a wife as well, and he's gonna have to know this. And so this is also gonna be information that he's gonna also be able to visibly see on the program internet. And so it's key for us to just keep coaching up the youth, keep being patient with yourself through the process. Don't be afraid to fail, because failure, what we think is failure, is really just data points and opportunity for us to learn and grow in the way that we see ourselves. And so just keep growing yourself. Don't be afraid to be yourself. And on that note, we're going to close out. Yeah. One love.